Welcome, my allies from all around, to another episode on One Build a Day. This is the series in which I do one build a day, and I showcase my builds over on Twitter and Instagram alternating days to be able to show you guys what I've come up to. Now, this series is always 1 week behind, so the builds that I'm going to be showing you today are actually from last week. Basically, it's just that if you want to be able to check out the builds first of all when they come up, follow me at Allies All Around both on Twitter and Instagram to be able to check those out. But anyway, let's hop into the builds here now, shall we? So over here, we have a build that I did on Saturday, and that's plainly because I skipped Friday. That's how the weeks go on here. So this is day 24, a Mini Frozen Dwarf Planet. This one's actually suggested by Redstone Pixels. So whenever someone suggests a build to me, it's going to be always immortalized behind the build here. Normally when these things go around, there's going to be a path that leads in front so you can see what build it is, and then there'll be the sign behind that you can go ahead and walk by too. It's just I haven't built that for this one yet. So anyway, that's that. It was a very interesting build to do. It was also very long. It was a very, very long build to do. And I just remembered, I actually have footage of that one. So when I was building this, I decided to go ahead and do a little bit of behind the scenes on it. It's the only one this week that I actually had time to do that for. So yeah, let's actually cut into that and be able to show you guys my process in being able to build this thing. Hello everybody. We are going to go ahead and build a frozen dwarf planet. I have been procrastinating this one for the longest time since I knew it was going to be kind of a massive one, and I think that the way I'm going to actually do this, just so you can kind of see what I'm doing, is I'm going to end up using a fill command. So I don't have a world edit in which I can actually build a sphere, but I'm going to be able to just build a giant cube and chisel it off. So it's going to be 0 to 30 because it's going to be a 31 block wide thing. Because it includes 0, that's the reason why it's going to be to 30 instead of to 31. And then we can go ahead, be all I think packed ice is a thing. Yep, packed ice is a thing. And I think that's all we need. Hopefully this doesn't ruin anything, since it should be building in the correct direction from here. And yep, it did. We can remove that block, and now we have a giant area in which we can go ahead and build our frozen dwarf planet. So it is going to start off as giant thing filled with packed ice, but hopefully we'll be able to go ahead and make this thing all good. So it is going to be kind of like a sculpting project in a way, not necessarily one in which I place every block down per bit. And I don't know if this is going to be easier or if it's going to be harder, so we're just going to have to wait and see. I could do progress updates, but I think I might just end up showing you guys how it ends up working in the end. So yeah, I'll catch you back up in a little bit here once I've either finished or made a bit of progress on actually knocking out bits of this thing. Okay, so I was working on this earlier, and I've made a little bit of progress, but not too much. And I was thinking, I think that this is actually the perfect use of having a third-person time-lapse. So up here we have frontline cam that's going to be looking down onto the world, and we can go ahead and record this whole entire process of me being able to build this in a nice format that I haven't done in probably forever. I mean, it's most definitely not forever, but you get what I'm saying. We're going to do a third-person time-lapse, put on the tunes, and see how this whole entire thing ends up turning out. And that took 2 hours. It took 2 hours for me to be able to get this thing from a giant block into a sphere. It's a perfect sphere. I actually had like a window open to be able to make sure that this is like block for block, pixel for pixel, what a sphere would be. And it took way longer than I would have ever wanted it to. So yeah, I was able to actually do this thing though. Able to add a little bit of like masses here on the side. Just little snow patches like all around the kind of planet with the ice that's actually like packing it together. And then of course, if anyone's to conquer this planet first, it's going to be America. So here we have a nice little guy here just like holding the flag. And he's actually not perfectly on a block, if you can kind of see here. I had to push him a little bit with water to make sure that his hand was actually like touching the flag. So that was also an interesting thing to do. I think that it turned out quite nice right there. So now I have this one, which I didn't like as much. It's a frost portal. So here, there's not too much to say about it. Like the idea that I was trying to go with was that like the frost was leaking from whatever is on the other side of this portal. I'm not sure if it's just my mind thinking that fire should be coming from another portal instead of frost, or if it's just the fact that I didn't build it quite right. It's like I don't know how I would have been able to integrate this blue ice better. Obviously, there is a better way, but I don't really like how kind of formulaic this thing looked, and I couldn't figure out what to do with the back of it either. So it's like this. You can see that's like the frost only like comes to a certain point. Then it's like, oh, it's green and lush and all that stuff. So at least that concept was like put through by the end of it. But I feel like I could have been able to work on this one better. So anyway, this one we're not even going to talk about because it's so lame. And you know what? We are going to talk about it, but I really didn't want to. So over here, we have a frozen temple, I believe I called it. Yep, day 26 frozen temple. And it took way longer than I wanted to be able to build this thing because it has like a lot of blocks to it to be able to get its final shape. And it's very blocky and flat. It was just one of those things that's like I kind of realized later on that it's like, yeah, this is not going to look right. I was not looking at any reference material of what a temple would look like, which may or may not be obvious. And yeah, it just... I tried to have like a cool little pillar thing by the side, but of course I needed to make like the rest of it a lot larger to really emphasize that these are separate structures that aren't a part of this here. But yeah, it just didn't end up looking right in my opinion, and obviously I could have detailed it more, but by the time that like the 45 minutes that I normally try and do these builds, which I know I spent 2 hours on that one, but that was a fluke. I couldn't, I had to build the full sphere, otherwise it was not going to be right. And it's like this one, it was just like, I can't, I don't know what else I can do with this one. So maybe leave suggestions if you think you can build the temple better, and maybe I'll do that in the future, but not a frozen one for now since February is nearly over. Over here, we have an icy cave passageway. So I've been doing like caves and stuff like for a while. But in this one, I kind of wanted to look more at like a passage in which you have to actually like run through the tunnel. And you see like the ice on the sides and all this stuff. And there's like crystals that glow as you go through as well. And there's just a door on the end that leads to a mysterious black void. And yeah. I kind of like how this one turned out. I wish that there was a better way to integrate the ice. I feel like there could have been a better way to integrate the ice, but I don't know exactly what that would have been. So maybe that's just something I need to play with. Someone did suggest like putting snow around it to make it pop a little bit more. But I'm almost wondering if having snow down here would make sense, since this is supposed to not necessarily like lead to the outside immediately. This is like deep down into the chasms of a tunnel and stuff, and you like wouldn't see snow because it wouldn't fall from the sky or anything. It would just kind of be ice that's compacted from groundwater underneath the world. So yeah, I might toy my brain on that one at some point if I ever do end up revisiting this. But yeah, it turned out fine, just probably could have been better. Anyway, this one right here, you may recognize it. Well, first of all, it's from the thumbnail, but you may actually recognize it from what I was trying to emulate from. This is actually a ship from Avatar: The Last Airbender. So here, I didn't actually really mention that. I just said Antarctic Shipwreck because, you know, the Southern Water Tribe is in the Antarctic, and this is where, like, the ship would have been frozen up. Basically, like, the ice moved up onto the ship when it was going about. So it just was forever put here in like, basically frozen in motion, trying to sail. But yeah, it was definitely like an interesting thing to do. The angles were probably the hardest part about the build, but I really like how it turned out. Obviously, the flag, I tried to make like a Fire Nation symbol on it, but it just didn't really end up looking right. So I was like, yeah, we're just going to make it a striped flag, and that's fine. So that's that. And then over here we have our last build for the day, or for the week, I guess. Day 29, an icy pit. And this one was interesting to do. I kind of like how it turned out, especially since it actually like is kind of like a blend between a cave and being able to have it be on the surface, in which it just goes down inward. It has like ice on the side that's been freezing and all kinds of stuff. There is snow on the ground that has accumulated over time. And I do like how this one ended up working. So yeah, it's like I feel like if I was to improve this though, I probably would have made it a little bit taller. Right now we're on y equals 20, and the minimum I could have it was that you could walk on y equals 1. So having it be a little bit taller would make the pit just a little bit like grander. But yeah, I didn't really have time for that one, and that's just something I can consider later. So you may notice here that there is a giant black wall. I am recording this slightly later than I normally do, so there are actually spoilers on the other side of that wall as to what builds are coming up. If you want to see those now, though, all of those builds for the next week on the other side of that wall are available on both my Twitter and Instagram, at AlliesAllAround, if you want to check that out. But yeah, basically, before I sign off, though, there's one thing I want to mention, and that's that the month of February, by the time this video is released, is over. It is March now, meaning that we're going to do a whole entire different style to Frozen the week after next, because next week I still got to show off my other Frozen builds that I did at the end of February. But for March, we're going to be doing a style called Abandoned. Now, you probably know what Abandoned means. Basically, just you end up having a place that was lived in, but it ended up being abandoned for whatever reason that may be. Maybe it wasn't intentional. Maybe like some kind of random accident occurred there or something like that. But that's what I'm going to be trying to do for the whole of March, to be able to hopefully improve my building skills there. But anyway, I would promise that this video would go on forever, but that would be a lie. Subscribe to the channel to be able to check out more content like this, be able to check out the other one build a day things. Leave suggestions for what I can build in the Abandoned theme as well, since I will be doing that soon. And yes, I will be seeing you guys all in the next episode. Bye.